Ain't nobody's running, ain't nobody's hiding, nobody's ducking. I mean, Crawford's going to be right there, ready to trade blows with Canelo Alvarez. Why did you use that word war? Why are you feeling that way?
If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford.
Crawford could see everything coming. He could see everything coming that Canelo threw at him. He was reading it so well. His guard was so tight as well when he was up at the ropes, when he was exiting, looking to move around.
They looked about the same size, but that was a brilliant performance. And what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Stephen A. Smith was very upset when Canelo Alvarez lost to Terence Crawford. He also said Crawford had been looking for this fight for a long time to make his name last. He said that Crawford made a name for himself on the biggest stage and is now the winner, taking Canelo's glory. Smith made it clear that this wasn't just another win, but a turning point.
Division world champion out of Omaha, Nebraska. He's undefeated, 41-0 with 31 KOs. And he begged for this fight. He wanted Canelo bad because to him, it's all about legacy. I'm not speculating. I'm telling you what I know. And how would I know? It's because I interviewed him. Yesterday, we sat down. Here is my conversation with the one and only Terence Crawford challenging Saul Canelo Alvarez, moving up 2 weight divisions to do it.
Max Kellerman agreed that Crawford's performance was important and would set the tone for his future. Max Kellerman gave Canelo Alvarez's loss to Terence Crawford a harsh review. He said that doing the job was like moving up several weight classes and facing a tough opponent who might get you into your first real fight. Kellerman noticed that fighters who are really sure of themselves look for opponents who will challenge them, no matter how tall, fast, or strong they are. He talked about how brave Crawford was and reminded everyone that no boxer had faced but in public in years. He thought that Crawford's acceptance of the dare showed that he was one of the most famous people in the sport.
Giving up or having to jump up 2 more weight classes and fight a guy who might put him in a dogfight, a real one, for the first time in his career.
When we get put in that position, we go find opposition to make that happen. You understand me? So when we go looking for the opposition, we're not concerned about how big they are, how fast they are, how strong they are. We feel like we got enough that we can bring to the table with anybody. That night I fought John Ruiz, I didn't care who was over there. Whoever they brought out that locker room was gonna get it. You understand me? That's just what it was. And I think Bud kind of has that feeling. Now, Bud, you gotta remember, has been around for a long time. Nobody called him out. You understand me? All the time Floyd came at the boxing floor, never said I want Bud Crawford.
No one ever said his name.
Hey, all I know is one thing. Israel Mazrimov, he didn't get it. He barely lost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but nobody called his name.
It has always been clear that Shocker Stevenson loves Terence Crawford, but after Crawford easily beat Canelo Alvarez, what he said became much more important. Shocker said that Crawford not only kept the promises he made before the fight, but he also showed why he is so respected. Stevenson said that he had been studying Crawford's method, philosophy, and field of work since the start of his own career. Watching his hero do something so important made Shocker even more sure that success comes from years of hard work and dedication. Crawford is more than just a boxing winner to him. He sees him as a role model and works hard to be perfect like Crawford.
On Cook Canelo. Said he was going to outbox him. He did exactly what I called years ago. And tonight he proved that he's the greatest boxer that ever lived.
Well, in the interview with Dimwat, you said, you felt like going on a run watching that tonight. How much inspiration can you take from someone like Terence?
I take everything from I've been around him since I was a kid. And just watching that greatness.
Stephen A. Smith talked about how determined Terence Crawford was before his fight with Canelo. He said that some boxers might have liked to see a superstar like Canelo drop to a more comfortable weight class, but Crawford insisted on going up against Canelo at 168 pounds. Crawford's task was never about making things easier. It was about staying alive. Stephen reminded the crowd that Canelo Alvarez is still one of the best boxers in the world, with a long list of titles and a wide range of weight classes. Crawford wanted what Canelo has at this weight class and kept going after it, which showed that he wanted to prove his greatness on the hardest stage possible.
31-0, Molly, with 31 knockouts. He's taken on all comers. I asked him, you're moving up in weight. Why would you not try to get Canelo to come down from 168 to 160 to meet you halfway, since his last fight was at Crawford's last fight was at 154? Crawford said, I want what he has. I want to go take it. I don't want to make, I don't want to make concessions and alterations. I'm coming to take what he has. And you look at him, and no one believes that he can't pull it off. He can box, he can punch, he's smart, he's elite, and he wants Canelo. He begged Canelo for this fight.
Oladipo noticed the huge change in how people felt about Terence Crawford. People who didn't like Crawford said he was too small, too old, and not strong enough to fight Canelo Alvarez at a higher weight before the fight. On the other hand, after the fight, many of those same people were ready to praise him for getting rid of their doubts. Aide said that Crawford should get all the praise because he won in the hardest way possible. Being able to fight a strong person like Canelo after moving up from lower levels took time. It was a very big risk. Crawford's dominating win over Canelo showed that his skills and determination are more important to him than his height or age.
Crawford did it again a few hours ago against Canelo. And what makes it even special or more special for Crawford is that he did it jumping up, as we know, a couple of weight classes. He did it against one of an all-time or another fellow all-time great. And he did it against someone who was undisputed and still a pound-for-pound top 10 guy. That's what Crawford did, people. So, all those things people were saying in the lead up to this fight, Canelo's going to be too strong, Canelo's too experienced, Crawford's going to be 38, all that. You have to remember all of that when you give Crawford his flowers. Now, don't like, oh, well, Canelo looks old. No. I don't want to hear any of that. I've started to see a few people on Twitter start to kind of sort of find excuses already. No. Remember everything you said, because Crawford deserves all of that. All of that. Crawford was incredible. Honestly, in the pocket, he was at times showing Canelo, no, I'm stronger than you. I'm going to bully you. Oh, you think you're going to get me in the clinch because you're Mr. 168? No, look at the size of me. I'm jacked as well. I'm swole. And he was moving Canelo around. So by doing that, he got his respect. He didn't switch to orthodox once, stayed in the southpaw stance because he realized early, oh, Canelo don't like this. Canelo does not like this southpaw stance. Canelo's tripping over himself. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to switch it. No, I like this work. I'm going to stay here. On the ropes, it's like, okay, come in. Because when you come in, I've got that as well. And I can hurt you as well. Spinning off the ropes. His jab was fantastic. They put up the jab numbers. He was out jabbing Canelo it was almost like 10-1. Maybe even 20-1. It was fantastic. And when he needed to land those power shots, he was landing those power shots. It was an incredible performance.
The Wade Concept analyst gave an important point of view by busting the myth that Canelo's loss could be seen as the end of a winner on the decline. He said that since Crawford is older than Canelo, age couldn't be used as an excuse for Alvarez's loss. Canelo also seemed to have an edge in weight, power, and comfort in the division going into the fight. In spite of this, Crawford still beat him. W said that this win wasn't because Canelo was past his best, but because Crawford had reached a whole new level. By getting rid of the excuses, he showed that Crawford's win was real, legal, and important.
More tight, more fundamentally sound. While Canelo, even when he was able to get to range, which wasn't a lot, it wasn't often, he was having a hard time landing clean because everything was super wide and out here and to the body out there. And Crawford would either circle out to that same side, to Canelo's lead hand side. He would circle away because Canelo would step straight to Crawford and chase him and not necessarily cut him off. And even when he threw that hook, I was looking for the hook from Canelo, right hand as he stepped through, right? Corral with the lead hand, bang the right hand because you're fighting a southpaw. So yeah, your jab may not be as effective in landing and managing distance and all those things, even though for Terence it kind of was. For Canelo, I was expecting a lot more of that right hand down the middle and over the top, and him jabbing his way, feint jab right hand, and then that lead hook that I thought he would be able to corral Crawford, because Crawford did want to move away from Canelo. He did. He wanted to move away from that power hand. Smart to do. Canelo never took that extra step to step outside of Crawford's lead foot. Again, that orthodox southpaw matchup. It's always going to be a battle of that lead foot. He never took that next step to get outside of that lead foot and then step through Crawford, step to his left where Crawford was going and land his right hand. He just felt like he was falling off to his right with his right hand, and once he fell off to his right after he threw the right hand, there was no follow-ups because he was off balance and Crawford was out the gate and circling back to reset the action. This was a masterful display from Terrence Crawford. And again, I looked at this fight, and I don't want to do the thing where I said, oh, Canelo's washed. He's over the top. He's old. Terrence Crawford's older than Canelo. Is he as weathered as far as fights are concerned? No. But you can only do one thing when talking about this fight, and that is give credit to Terrence Crawford. If you want to say Canelo looked old, that's fine. That's on you. I'm not going to say.
Carl Frock, who used to be world champion, looked at Crawford's move during the middle rounds. Frock says that Crawford knew he needed to push forward and take more control of the fight after the 6th and 7th rounds. His jab was the weapon that made gaps, throwing Canelo off balance and putting him on the back foot. Crawford was smart to know when to change his strategy, which Frock praised. Crawford does not let the fight die down. Instead, he seizes the chance to be more assertive.
Combination punches on the back foot, sort of dictating the pace. And then after about round 6 or 7, Canelo Alvarez knew, 1 second. I need a little freshener. Canelo knew he had to step on the gas. He knew he needed to put the fight on its front foot and take it to Terrence Crawford and start to try and catch him and bang him on. And when he headbutted Crawford, I thought that could be the start of it. A little bit of a nut, get that down. Yeah, I don't know if there was a cut, but the referee stopped and had a look, and I thought, now Canelo's going to step on the gas. And he did that. He stepped on the gas, he started getting in close, and he started landing a few more shots than he was in the previous rounds, but it wasn't enough. Terrence Crawford was able to catch and counter. He was landing a sneaky uppercut from the southpaw stance. He was dominating behind his jab, and then when Canelo stuck it on him, he was dominating up close in the pocket. He was beating him at his own game. Canelo Alvarez must have been fuming in there. He must have thought to himself, what can I do? He couldn't do anything. He needed to pick up the pace, put the pressure on, and sustain the attacks. And I don't want to take anything away from Terrence Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez couldn't do that. He couldn't do it for long enough. Crawford looked like he could have done 20 rounds in there tonight at that pace, the way he was dictating and controlling. And Canelo Alvarez was getting marked up, he was breathing heavy, he was getting tired, he was reaching with shots, and it was getting torn apart. It was an absolute masterclass by Terrence Crawford. Canelo tried, Canelo came and he had a go, but to be honest, I don't want to rain on the parade of Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez, for me, is well past his best now. He's seen better days. He hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the fitness to sustain the attack. Afterwards in the interview, he said, I felt great, it's great, I feel good. And don't forget, Crawford's a couple of years older. So I think it's the miles on the clock. Canelo Alvarez had like 67 fights. I know Crawford's had a fair few fights, but he's about 20 fights behind him. So the miles on the clock have caught up with Canelo Alvarez. He's feeling the pace, he's feeling the age.
Someone else who knows a lot about boxing said that Terrence Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez was a great example of how to be smart in the ring. He said that Crawford's performance was nothing less than brilliant and pointed out that he seemed to know exactly what Canelo was going to do. Instead of waiting until it was too late, Crawford had clearly studied Canelo's moves and was ready with the right defenses before the shots were fired. Crawford's planning helped him stay one step ahead from the beginning to the end. This made Canelo's offense limited and predictable. The analyst said that many boxers, even those with world-class skills, stopped moving when Canelo hit them hard. Crawford, on the other hand, took them apart slowly and carefully, never looking stressed or overwhelmed. Instead of physical strength, his approach focused on being ready, having a high ring IQ, and being strategic. Canelo wasn't expecting any of the defensive moves that led to quick offenses. The expert said that this was not just a case of bad luck. It came about after years of hard work and careful planning. Crawford's success in stopping one of the sport's most dangerous fighters cemented his status as one of the best strategists in boxing.
The lead left hook to try and cut this off, and when he did get his foot to the outside, that was an option. But over time, Crawford, as he always does, as the genius boxer that he is and is able to do, starts to find those counter punches. And there was two counters in particular that I noted during the fight that I felt were absolutely key for Crawford. The first was the counter off that left hook to the body. Now, Canelo did land these sometimes. That left hook he throws, the lead left hook, is quite unpredictable, but he started to land it quite effectively to the body from time to time. But what Crawford was doing was he was catching it with his elbow, and then he'd throw the straight left hand back at Canelo as a counter shot. He'd throw multiple shots, and what I really loved about his counter work was he'd never throw more than singles or twos or threes. He never got carried away, he never did too much with Canelo. Don't get me wrong though, Canelo was still defensively very astute in this fight, but he simply didn't have the foot speed to get to Crawford. He couldn't do it, and he didn't want to use his own jab because I believe Crawford's lead hand is so effective that southpaw stance really meant he could dominate the fight with his own lead hand. Canelo's not a massive jabber himself, but now that he was fighting someone closer to his size, I thought he might try and implement a jab, but he didn't because Crawford's counters were just too fast and too good. There was a couple of moments in this fight, and I said in my prediction I thought that you would see Crawford in moments looking absolutely electric and just outclassing Canelo, looking too fast and lighting him up, and we saw that. I'll never forget the beginning of round 9 where he actually stood in the pocket with Canelo and he just rolled with the shots and he was throwing counters. It was absolutely brilliant. But the second counter that he used that was really effective was he'd allow Canelo to throw that single right hand, that straight right hand, that backhand for Canelo, make him miss and come back with his own straight left hand over the top. I also thought that Crawford stabbing to the body was very good. He'd throw straight shots to the body, and that was something I predicted from the Lara fight that he would be able to do. That was also where I got the idea with the exits that I felt would be useful. And the reason we knew they'd be useful and important was because of Saunders just not really dealing with them too.
Then Rafael gave an interesting look into how people saw the fight before it happened. He also said that a lot of fans and observers laughed at the idea of Crawford beating Canelo. However, Crawford never thought of it as an impossible task. Rafael said that Crawford didn't think there was a big difference in size between him and Canelo. He wasn't scared of them, he saw them as equals, and that confidence showed in the ring. Rafael's words showed that having faith in oneself is often the difference between doing well and failing. Crawford set himself up to shock the world and change people's standards by not taking other people's doubts personally.
Rounds where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. But he showed his greatness.
He spoke about looking to back up Canelo in the fight, as you mentioned there, before it took place. How much of a surprise was it, though, just to see how comfortable he felt doing so?
I think it took him a little while to figure out that, you know what, he doesn't hit as hard as some people were saying, and that I can get in and out, and I'm going to be able to stalk him and walk him down a little bit. And he had Canelo extremely frustrated. And so I guess I was a little surprised he was able to do it, especially in those last couple of rounds. But he definitely was the guy that was going forward and back in. I mean, I've been watching Canelo for his entire career as a known fighter. This is my 24th Canelo Alvarez fight in person. I can't say that against anybody, including big punchers like Triple G and Kovalev and people like that saw him get forced back. That's not normal for a fight with Canelo Alvarez.
And given your time covering Canelo Alvarez and those defeats that he's had in his career, but Bivol tonight amongst other kind of contentious decisions, how much is this one going to hurt? Because there's always been those question marks for the last few years. Is he on the decline? Now there's going to be more question marks. Is this the end of the road for Canelo, certainly at the elite level?
I mean, listen, and this is not a disrespect to Canelo, because everybody who has ever read me, followed me, listened to me knows I love Canelo. I think he's one of the greats of all time. I think you can make a really good argument.
Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian Bowmack McIntyre, ended the debate with an emotional speech about the memory of his fire. He told them that he had always thought Terence Crawford was the best player of all time, and that this win only proved it to everyone else. Bowmack made it clear that Crawford needs a break after such a hard trip, but he can't retire just yet. He will instead rest and heal before choosing what to do next. That people see how talented Bowmack is the most important thing to him. He has been watching them in the gym for years. His words made them feel proud, and like all the hard work and sacrifices they had made over the years had paid off.
Bowmack, you've been training Crawford for years. Do you think, okay, is he the greatest of all time? Because now people are putting him in the conversation of greatest of all time.
You know that.
You think so?
You know I know.
Okay, what's next for him? You've been training for years. What's next for him? The fans want to know. What's next for him?
Break. Take a break.
Is he retired, or is he going to keep fighting?
He just got to take a break.
How are you celebrating? Listen, congratulations to you. Listen, congratulations to you. How are you celebrating?
Just go and have dinner with my wife, man.
Okay, well, are you trainer of the year?
I'll let the critics worry about that.
Last question. Is Terence Crawford retired, or is he going to keep fighting?
Oh, he's going to keep fighting.
He's going to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You're the man. Be man. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for the video today. Watch out. Until the next time.